Hi, it's Cameron Reynolds, and I wanted to have another video where I talked a little bit. I know they're not as exciting as when I get into the hives and fool with the bees. I mean, that's the way I feel about it too. But there are some talks that we need to have, because these are things I wish I would have had somebody much more knowledgeable than I was at the time to sit me down and tell me how it is. And this is one of those things where, I mean, we all have to choose where we're going to go with our bees. But is it okay to do an alcohol wash? And I know some of you guys are going to be like, yeah, duh. And there's going to be some of you like, whoa, no way. I mean, when I first got into beekeeping 16 years ago, an alcohol wash would have been sacrilege, and they weren't common at that time. I'm not even sure I knew what an alcohol wash was until about, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe. So, is it okay? And we need to be a little objective about this, because a lot of times when you come into the hobby, we are told by other hobby beekeepers, you know, the commercial guys are bad, and, you know, killing bees is evil, and, you know, each little bee is really special and important, and that's really not the case. There are a few bad commercial guys out there, just like with every field, just like with the police force, there's always a couple bad cops. Most of the people are really good people, just trying to do their job. And with beekeepers, it's the same way. Hey, I have met my share of bee con men. However, we got to focus on the stuff that's going to help us keep our bees healthy, and I do believe that doing an alcohol wash can really help you keep your bees alive. Now, as far as the bees being expendable, yeah, I mean, bees are designed to be expendable. They don't live that long, and summer bees only live 5 to 6 weeks. And if they're being fed on by Varroa, much less than that. That's why summer can change things so quickly. Spring bees look so good. Summer, they start getting to be a lot worse, and all that kind of stuff. And bees, if the queen's not doing her job, they'll rip her limb from limb. If the drones are no longer needed, they don't have enough nutrition to handle them, they cast them out, let them starve to death. If a bee feels like that it has too much viruses in its gut, or any type of problems, nosema, tracheal mites, whatever it is, they will chuck themselves out of the hive and run themselves out to try to get that either disease or pest away from the colony to save them. And this is why a lot of times people see their colonies, they look great in the spring, they're kind of getting a little smaller in summer, but they're halfway decent, and sometimes they're even, you know, pretty good looking going into early fall, and then late fall here in Tennessee, they're gone. And it's virus problems, and it's that, you know, I don't have any scientific proof other than my observations of seeing viruses in the brood, doing alcohol washes, and knowing that the mite levels are way out of control, and also losing too many hives of bees that way. Way too many hives of bees. It's so discouraging. And I hope you guys don't deal with that. Man, we have no-see-ums here. If y'all don't know what those are, you need to come to Tennessee just so you can experience the no-see-um pleasure. They are very hard to see. No-see-um. So maybe for those of you in other countries who can't understand what I'm saying, they're a problem. And they're like, well, aggravating boogers. But anyways, back to the alcohol wash. So bees sacrifice themselves for the survival of the colony. Keep in mind that if we keep our colonies healthy, and if they need feed, we give it to them. We treat the mites if they need to be treated. We do the things that we need to as a beekeeper to give our bees the best chance of survival, because we aren't just going along and letting nature cruise and do its thing. That's kind of actually the opposite of what a beekeeper's for. Now, I'm all for natural honey. I don't want a drop of sugar syrup in my honey. We're going to be talking about that in the future as well. I've had a lot of questions on that. I don't want any contaminants in my honey. Crazy cat. I don't want anything unnatural in my food. I'm eating it. My kids are eating it. My customers, and I'm extremely proud to produce a good, clean, healthy product. However, if we do all these things the right way, we're actually kind of defying nature a little bit, because nature would kill most of our colonies off. Even prior to Varroa, about 70% of swarms died every year. It's just because nature's requirements for their survival, whether it was a big enough cavity space, enough food at the right time, whatever it wasn't good enough. I don't know about you, but if I have 10 hives, I don't want to be losing 7 every year. No. And if we actually help our bees, we work along with nature when it's kind, and when it's not so much, we help our bees out. And doing this, we actually can have a very sustainable hobby. And you get to the point, if you get good enough at it, where you have to sell bees, because if your bees are healthy and thriving, you are going to be splitting bees. You got to. You're going to be making lots of honey. And you know, you get to a point where you're either selling nukes or you're growing your operation, you know, all that good stuff. But we'll get more into that later. So back to killing bees. So if we take this little alcohol wash deal, and we will be doing an alcohol wash video soon on how to do it. Very simple, probably the next video we do. But is it okay to kill those bees? I'm going to have to say yes. I'm not saying you have to. So for some people, that's a little hard. Growing up on a farm, we've raised thousands of chickens and we've killed them. We gave them the best life that we could while they were alive. We gave them high quality feed. We gave them probiotics. We gave them free range. We did all those things. And I know for some of you, this talk might seem just a little normal. I was talking to one of our subscribers in Sweden, and she was telling me about how they're raising a bunch of pheasants and stuff like that over there, and how beautiful they are, and they're gorgeous birds. And you know, they can use the feathers for fly fishing, and they also are delicious. Now, for those of you who are vegans or vegetarians, pardon my French, but I do believe the alcohol wash can help out. You don't have to do it, but it greatly helps us understand where our colonies are. And the thing that I have noticed over hundreds of colonies is that you can treat all your colonies the same way with the same treatment program, and you'll have like 80–90% of them that are where they need to be on the mite levels. But for whatever reason, you'll have some outlying colonies. You'll have 10–20% that the mite levels are too high, and you lose those going into winter unnecessarily, or they come out of winter so small they don't produce any honey for you, and they end up just using equipment and not getting anything out of them. Another thing, I think that might play into that is if you have some, other beekeepers around here that aren't treating their bees, or some in a tree somewhere, and they're loaded down with 10,000 mites and they start perishing, your bees are going to go fly in there doing what they naturally do and going for any sugar source that they can, which would be honey in those hives, and going after that honey and robbing them out and picking up those varroa mites as they're coming back. So basically, I do alcohol washes because it helps me know where my bees are at so I can keep them alive. Keep in mind that a good queen can raise 1,000 to 1,500 eggs a day. An alcohol wash is going to sacrifice 300 bees. The alcohol kills them very quick. Now, there are sugar shake methods and other things out there, and I'm hoping we get to the point where we don't have to do the alcohol wash. There's some products in development. I know some people are working with CO2, but there's some troubleshooting problems, and I think they're pretty expensive. Not a whole lot's come from that so far, but hopefully we'll figure out something that just maybe gets the mites off and gives us a very accurate representation. The sugar shake method, I mean, you're beating the bees up, and maybe it will survive after you shake them that hard, and it doesn't give you a very accurate count. So I just wanted to have this talk. For some of you, this is a no-brainer because you've already decided what you're going to do, and you don't have to do the alcohol wash, but keep in mind that the bees are willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good of the colony. That is their nature. And sometimes as beekeepers, I think we need to follow along the bee's natural inclination for survival at any cost. And then sometimes, we do things that are a little more intelligent than the bees, because that's where our relationship, beekeeper and bees, really, I think, comes in handy. You've got the beekeeper who has the intelligence, hopefully, to be able to notice the bees' weaknesses. They have several weaknesses, the mites being one of them. Another one is sometimes they do things at the wrong time of the year. The bees might decide to swarm at the worst time of the year. Always have some colonies that want to swarm at the end of the flow because they're so packed, and if we were to let them, they're going to swarm right at the end of June. There's no nectar coming in, little to no pollen. And so what are they going to do? Swarm into a place and have to build comb off of what? Just what's in their stomach? And then they're going to just build up a nice big cavity size of healthy brood and plenty of forager bees for the fall flow? No. They're going to perish. So the bees respond to stimuli. And that's where as beekeepers we're like, hey guys, stay in the box, stay in the box. So anyways, I know this talk has been a little lengthy, but we need to sit down and we need to all figure out how we are going to take care of our bees in the best way possible. And I hope that my videos help you do that. Thanks everybody for watching. And if you have any comments or questions on alcohol washes, we'll be doing one soon. If you don't want to watch that, you'll see it in the title. Thanks for watching our videos.